Again, our guests today, Nate Sherman and Nick Vokey. And in addition to this program, Fired on Mars, they also work together on Wet City for Adult Swim. But the new one, Fired on Mars, starring Luke Wilson as the main character, Jeff Cooper. He's the voice of that character. Laid off from his Red Planet startup job. Now he's unemployed and unable to come back to Earth.
Somebody is finally giving us a true picture of the what-if factor. If we're all going to move to Mars, what if?
You think it's going to be this big, crazy thing, but you get stuck in another office.
Fired on Mars, brought to us by the brilliant minds of Nate Sherman and Nick Vokey, is a masterfully crafted contemporary satirical commentary that really makes you think. That's right, baby. Contemporary. You don't even know what I've been up to. It's been a couple of years, I'm not gonna lie, but I am trying to take a little bit of a new direction and smooth out all that vulgar, surface-level analysis into something a little bit more refined. This show is all about telling corporate America to go fuck it.
Graphics, design, symbols to create change, galvanizing people around a cause. A cause? A dream. Flashback to me, age 10, my grandmother's sewing room. Now, she'd been collecting embroidery patterns since...
Jesus, okay, enough.
Jeff Cooper is a graphic designer on Mars who gets laid off, hence the show's namesake, and despite going to the Steven Universe school of unlikable main characters just like in Steven Universe through halfway decent dialogue and a painfully relatable assortment of fuck-ups, losses, and victories, I am once again a whore for well-written character development. This is due to my habit of living vicariously through fictional characters, so I forget that I haven't had any meaningful change in my life since I was 13 and I discovered graphic tees and cargo pants.
Okay. I feel seen and attacked. I know this show. This show is about a graphic designer who lives on Mars and gets fired from his job because he's not useful enough to society.
And I'm not alone in really resonating with this character. I mean, despite being annoying and generally unlikable, Jeff Cooper and the ensemble cast of corporate drones at Marsley are a perfect reflection of the general dissatisfaction we have in a lot of our shitty lives. Yes, you heard that right. I said our, because you're watching a guy with no animation experience and a film degree I might as well wipe my ass with review cartoons on the internet's only halfway decent video sharing site, which has virtually no competition. Unlike the writers of the show, I'm not emotionally mature enough or as technically knowledgeable as the small army that goes behind the production of a show like this to articulate what makes Fired on Mars so special. It spoke to me in ways I didn't know were possible. Trying to convey these ideas won't be easy, but I'll try. It isn't the simplistic yet intricate art style that makes everyone stand out, yet still appear as a gray generic cog in the machine, although it helps. It isn't the masterfully crafted soundtrack by Greg Gernston that creates this constant ambient feeling of wonder that manages to be hopeful yet eerie at the same time, which you can't listen to or find online, and the closest we can get to is this glorified YouTube mashup of some scenes with the best tracks ripped straight from the show, covered up with sound effects, dialogue, accompanied by an ugly-ass property of Warner label that wouldn't feel out of place in the show's actual corporate hellscape. The real beauty of Fired on Mars is hidden in those small idiosyncratic moments where the dialogue feels so real it makes you uncomfortable, yet you are in awe of how well written it is. The beauty of Fired on Mars is...
No, Jeff! Get out of here. Beat it. Go get a fucking hobby.
I need water. I'm so parched.
Hey, it's okay. Just get some water. We'll connect later.
Hey, I need some water. Can I get a fucking water, please?
Oh, of course. Don't let me keep you. Go, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
You were in the tank. I used to...
Used to what?
I used to watch you.
That's fucked up, my boy.
Oh, I thought you knew. The results came in and you won the competition for World's Dumbest Fuck.
I don't think your manager would appreciate it.
I don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am.
I beg your pardon?
Your ruse, your cunning attempt to trick me.
I really like Clerks, the movie, that is, and its short-lived, criminally underfunded, and underrated animated series. Clerks just had that flair. Despite its low budget, you can tell through the complexities of the realistic, grimy dialogue that you're watching something special. It's a filthy yet genuine window into another person's life, another world.
How many dicks have you sucked? How many?
That's actually a joke from the book, but it's true.
Oh, is it in the book? Ugh. Look, I know you're sad, but quit being fucking stupid.
The rest of the movie suck, and I lost all respect for Kevin Smith as a director when he turned off the comments on his live stream after his awful He-Man series flopped. Shit was so visceral, I felt like I had just witnessed the fastest interspecies sex change in the world. He ain't a man no more, he's a bitch now.
Kevin Smith, who certainly has been a shill for the last 10 years, but it's one thing to be a known shill, and it's another thing to
especially when you were the once nerd of the people, or, dare I say, king of the nerds. Now, you're just another tool, another cog in the machine, another Hollywood douche.
The tank is probably the most sinister part of Marsley. It's a tank that leaves its victims in a suspended state of animation, putting them on ice until they prove to be useful again. After being laid off, Jeff is set to hop in this watery tomb of corporate slavery, but he manages to weasel his way into another department, and things seem to be looking up for him. He befriends Jackson Olivier, a character who could honestly get his own video, but that could be said for a lot of characters in the show. Jackson turns out to be creepy as shit and uses gas pumps to literally gaslight his superiors by drugging them. Jeff is an idiot, but he's not a bad person. He realizes the sketchiness of it all, yet he reluctantly joins in, because Jackson is the closest thing he has to an actual friend at this point. Mild-mannered but painfully clumsy, Jeff manages to take it too far, and couldn't manage to plan a birthday party without committing accidental terrorism.
What happened to me?
Well...
You listen to jazz, right, Jeff?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, you have. Fucking fireheart.
Jeff here was just about to tell us exactly how he managed to nearly murder and destroy an entire crucial department.
Stop!
Oh, I have a dream that my eyebrows magically grow back overnight after that freak Jackson burned them off.
But the tank's a killing machine.
Well, actually, we fixed it, and really there wasn't anything wrong with it at all. Well, and all the hustle and bustle of getting your unconscious body in there, we forgot to flush out your bowels. So you're just choking on that stuff for weeks and weeks.
Shit, if things really went south, I got enough plutonium to bring this whole place down around us. Like, I've seen a lot of shit. You better believe I keep the receipts.
Ah, you got it all in the necklace, huh?
You got a keen eye, motherfucker.
Jackson takes the blame and now has a spot waiting for him in the tank. Jeff is now completely off the hook, and here I was thinking Jackson was a one-off character who solely existed to torture Jeff for the rest of the series. But no, Jeff isn't a bad guy. He's misguided and easily manipulated, sure, but given the option, he'll choose to do the right thing. Eventually. Except after getting Jax hammered and stealing his nukes in a last-ditch attempt to use this legendary blackmail to save his friend from his watery tomb. It's just a video of an 11-year-old 350-pound Jax on some shitty talk show. The only dirt he has is on himself.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to get the dirt to save you. To save my peep.
The only dirt I got is on myself. On that 350-pound chipmunk-cheeked loser. I changed my name the day I turned 12. The last 30 years, they've been about changing everything else.
That's when I was like, yo, what the fuck? It was after this point that I was not only hooked, but absolutely dumbfounded. I had no idea where this show was going, and any attempts to predict or expect what was going to happen were met by pure shock and awe at what the actual fuck these guys were up to.
Wait, what are you doing?
That's what happens to people who fuck with my peeps.
For what you did for me, you know, to the tank. You're good to your peeps, and I didn't even think I was a peep anymore, to tell you the truth.
Not sure I know what you're talking about.
Jeff is given the opportunity to do some odd jobs around the colony, and it's at this point that you really get that feeling that there's something definitely going on behind the scenes at Marsley. After meeting Crystal, his, I guess, second love interest? Yeah, there's a girlfriend back on Earth that doesn't really care about his existence, but there aren't really any layers there, aside from showing us that she couldn't care less about Jeff, like every other character in the show. So she's really not worth mentioning. Crystal comes into Jeff's dogshit life, claiming she's doing research and has to run several tests. Uses Jeff for sex, was using him as a lab rat for some super secret society that's planning to start their own colony. He gets caught by them and she literally tries to kill him. Jeff gets away, but he doesn't snitch or run his mouth about the secret group despite being interrogated about it. This earns the group's trust and he ends up joining.
You know, this colony may seem like a slick, well-oiled machine. Nothing ever goes wrong. It's too boring. I mean, that's what people say around here, right? But things do go wrong, Jeff. Things go missing. Food, supplies. labels?
No, I did not tell him about that.
Really?
Really.
Why?
Because I like him.
Okay, even after
you dump me. Yeah, then plan to kill me.
A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight. His punishment? He sees the dawn before the rest of the world.
Join us, Jeffrey.
I think, although it's not being stated directly, as much as Jeff appears as a nuisance at first, carrying himself with about as much backbone as a chicken tender, everyone around Jeff, even the characters that are supposed to be the quote-unquote good guys like the aforementioned Secret Society, and Crystal, are ultimately terrible, awful human beings that would throw Jeff into a meat grinder without a second thought had he proven not to be of any use to them. The irony being that at their core, they aren't any better than the corporate overlords they've been rebelling against. This isn't a summary, and I think I'm leaving out just enough information to encourage you to go watch the show on your own, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into the details. I don't like telling people what to do. I don't know, man, it's your life, do whatever you want. Nobody cares about this show anyway. Following several major events that exposed the group's existence to the higher-ups and causing a huge mess with the guys up the corporate ladder makes the group rush their plans to ditch the colony, kickstarting a manhunt for the members of a now labeled terrorist group running around the colony. Jeff finally gets some proper respect and authority as he's in charge of making all the designs for the upcoming Marsiversary event, which is the same event the group intends to use as a distraction for their plan.
I can't believe we're doing this. It's decided. We live in 2 weeks' time.
So now our hero is stuck between finally being in a position where his work actually matters, but torn between his desire for creative, fulfilling work where he feels like he's needed, while also being a part of this grand secret plan. It's important to mention Nate Sherman and Nick Vokey's miniseries, Wet City, as I find the parallels between the two projects very apparent and worth mentioning, especially in terms of how they decide to wrap up their stories. Wet City takes place in a post-apocalyptic world that's been completely flooded, where a man goes on a quest to find his pet cyber shark and ends up finding what he really wants out of life in the process. You can really see the early outline for Jeff Cooper in the main character, a lost soul who doesn't seem like he has a lot of depth, only to smack the shit out of you in the end, making you realize you did not have this dude figured out at all. And in a way, that's how people are in real life. We're so quick to judge, but everyone ultimately has more going on than meets the eye. When shit goes south, even the evil corporate masterminds at Marsley are humanized. Not redeemed, not even close. But the writers are really good at building these worlds and characters from the ground up and slowly peeling back the layers to reveal so much more beneath the surface. The last episode consists of everything going wrong on Marsiversary, and Jeff is nowhere to be found the whole episode, along with all the supplies the group was supposed to use for their plan going missing. This makes his appearance at the very end way more impactful, with his corny presentation that might not be good, but it's so Jeff. Leaving nothing behind but a note, not for Crystal or the Buckies, but for Jax, the only character that genuinely cared about him throughout the whole show. And in those final moments, I shed the manliest tears of my life. And in those final moments, I shed the manliest tears of my life, as the once spineless and lost Jeff Cooper finally becomes a master of his own destiny.
The hard labor and plant-based diet had honed my body into the perfect specimen for one of their sick experiments. Then an angel visited me. And for a brief moment, my hell became a heaven.
Is Jeff Cooper somebody that you really know?
Jeff Cooper's all of us, unfortunately.
A cosmic joke. My greatest passion in decades. A happy ending that I just couldn't risk. Maybe I
see her again. Pluck her from the twisted thorn bush the Founders Colony had become. But the truth is, she's a country girl at heart. And me, I'm a city boy.
We can get to is this glorified YouTube mashup of some scenes with the best tracks ripped straight from the show, covered up with sound effects and dialogue accompanied by an ugly-ass property of Warner label that wouldn't feel out of place in the show's actual corporate hellscape. That's hard, man.